Hello everyone, welcome to Rapid Review for MRCEM exam. In this session, we are going to discuss a patient with major trauma. So the question is, a 40-year-old male presents to the emergency department after motor vehicle collision. He reports chest pain and examination revealed tenderness over the sternum, and ECG shows multiple premature ventricular contractions and sinus tachycardia. Cardiac biomarkers including troponin are elevated. So the question is, what is the most appropriate next step in the management of this patient? I've got Sam with me who's going to answer this question. Let's see.
So obviously I'm worried about, it sounds like he might have had some blunt trauma to his chest if he's got tenderness over the sternum and also his ECG showing PVCs and tachycardia. His troponin would also suggest that the heart has had a hard time. So with that in mind, discharge with outpatient follow-up in 48 hours. So I definitely don't want to be sending home somebody who I think might have had blunt trauma to his heart. B, perform a focused assessment with sonography for trauma. So part of this is appealing because an echo would be included in this, which at some point I think this patient will need. So that's a contender, but I'll come back to that. C, admit for continuous cardiac monitoring. So this patient definitely does need to be on a cardiac monitor, particularly if he's having the PVCs and his trop is elevated. So that's also a contender. So at the moment, thinking B or C. D, administer thrombolysis for suspected myocardial infarction. No, I'm still thinking that his raised trops are due to trauma. So I'm not thinking of doing D at the moment. And E, obtain an urgent coronary angiography. Again, that would be more appropriate if I thought the raised trops and findings were due to an MI, which is not, I'm thinking it's more trauma related, so not E. So between B and C, I think I'm going to go for C, continuous cardiac monitoring, which this patient definitely will need, and then assume at some point potentially down the line the patient will have a fast/echo.
I agree actually. So out of all the 5 options, we have got the options B and C, which may be the correct one. So if we go with the question which asks most appropriate next step in the management, so discussing about the option B, which is to perform a fast scan or echocardiography. So it gives the idea about pericardial effusion, but it doesn't give any information about any conductions abnormalities or doesn't give any information about myocardial contusion. Actually, in this case, I'm most likely patient has got myocardial contusion secondary to the sternal fracture. So even though fast scan or echocardiography can be performed, but it doesn't give all the answers. So in this question, with the options available, option C is the correct one, which is to admit the patient for continuous cardiac monitoring. Well done, Sam.